Have you ever heard of unexplained moments? No, not the TikTok trend, but the actual phenomenon. Unexplained moments are when you experience something that you can't explain, even after trying your best to make sense of it. Like, you know how sometimes you'll see something out of the corner of your eye, turn around and look, but there's nothing there? Or how about those times when you just know something before it happens? Well, these are all unexplained moments, and science doesn't have an answer for them. And they can be pretty unnerving sometimes. I mean, we've been conditioned to think of the world in a certain way, in terms of cause and effect. When we see a cloud up ahead, we know that eventually it's going to rain because that's what clouds do. But unexplained moments are like cracks in that system, like when we catch a glimpse of something without knowing why or how. It makes us question everything. Now, one of the most common unexplained moments that people talk about is seeing a ghost. We're not talking about hearing footsteps behind you or seeing a figure out of the corner of your eye. We're talking about actually seeing a ghost, like the full apparition, complete with translucent features and ethereal glow. Now, this is where things get really interesting because science says that ghosts don't exist, yet people keep reporting these experiences. So what gives? Well, some people believe that these unexplained moments are actually visits from our deceased loved ones or even our past or future selves. Others believe that they are simply hallucinations or tricks of the mind. But what if there's something else at play here? What if these unexplained moments are actually the work of our ghostly neighbors? You see, modern science teaches us that when someone dies, their consciousness ceases to exist, that there's no such thing as an afterlife or a soul that goes to heaven or hell. But what if that's not true? What if there is such a thing as a spirit world that exists alongside our own? In fact, many cultures around the world have stories of spirits or ghosts that are said to inhabit the places we live. In Japan, for example, there is a belief in the supernatural being known as a yurei, which is said to be the spirit of a person who has died an unnatural death. Yurei are said to appear as pale, gaunt figures and are often seen dragging themselves along the ground. They are typically restless spirits that are looking for peace or revenge. Similarly, in India, there is a belief in the bhuta, which are spirits that are said to inhabit trees, water bodies, and other natural features. Bhuta are often seen as malevolent spirits that can cause harm to those who interact with them. But it's not just in Asian cultures where these beliefs are found. In the Philippines, for example, there is a belief in the anting, which are spirits that are said to inhabit houses. Anting are often seen as protective spirits that can bring good luck to those who live there. They are typically invisible, but they are said to manifest themselves in other ways, such as by shaking beds or making regular unexplained moments. Of course, science would have us believe that these are all just myths and legends, that there's no truth to these beliefs at all. But what if there is? What if there really are spirits that exist alongside us, that they're just invisible to the naked eye? Think about it. Modern science is only about 150 years old. For thousands of years before that, people all over the world were reporting experiences that could not be explained using the laws of physics or chemistry. And they didn't just report these experiences. They created entire belief systems based on them. So what makes us think that just because we can't see a spirit that they don't exist, it's like saying that because we can't see the wind, it's not real. Just because we can't see something doesn't mean that it's not there. Maybe we're just not aware of the parameters of its existence. So what if these unexplained moments are actually messages from our ghostly neighbors, from the spirits that dwell in our homes and communities? Could it be that they're trying to communicate with us in ways that we're just not understanding? Let us take a closer look at some of these unexplained moments and see if we can't find some answers. One of the most common unexplained moments that people report is seeing a ghost. Again, we're not talking about feeling a cold spot or hearing chains dragging metal moans. We're talking about actually seeing the ghost, usually in the form of a translucent figure that appears and disappears at will. Now, some people believe that these ghosts are simply figments of our imagination, that they're nothing more than tricks of the light or shadows. But what if there's more to them than that? What if these ghosts are actually the spirits of our dead loved ones, or even strangers who have passed on? After all, we know that spirits are said to be able to manifest themselves in physical form. So, it's not too far of a stretch to believe that they might be able to appear as ghosts. In fact, many people have reported seeing the ghosts of loved ones who have recently passed away. They describe these ghosts as being translucent or ethereal in appearance, just like you might expect a ghost to look. Of course, these experiences can be difficult to prove. After all, how do you photograph a ghost? But that doesn't mean they're not real. Just because we can't see a ghost doesn't mean that it's not there. Another type of unexplained moment that people experience is precognition, or the ability to see into the future. Now, again, science tells us that this isn't possible. It says that all knowledge comes from our senses and that we can't know anything that we haven't experienced. But what if that's not true? What if there's a way for us to see into the future without actually experiencing the events ourselves? Some people believe that this is possible through precognition. They say that we can receive impressions or visions of the future from our subconscious mind, or even from our past lives. For example, let's say you have a reoccurring dream about a specific event happening. In your waking life, you might dismiss it as just a dream. But what if it's more than that? What if it's a vision of the future? What if the event in your dream is actually going to happen in your waking life? Of course, this sounds far-fetched, but the truth is that we don't really know how the mind works. There are things that we can do that we don't understand, and precognition might be one of them. Finally, let's talk about telepathy, or the ability to communicate with others through thoughts alone. Again, science tells us that this isn't possible, that thoughts are just electrochemical impulses in the brain and can't be detected from outside the body. But what if that's not true? What if there's a way for us to communicate with others using only our minds? Some people believe that this is possible through telepathy. They say that we can send and receive messages from others using our subconscious minds or even our past lives. For example, let's say you're thinking of a loved one who lives far away, and suddenly they text you, even though you haven't communicated with them in weeks. You might write it off as a coincidence, but what if it's more than that? What if your loved one was actually thinking of you and subconsciously reached out to you through telepathy? Of course, this sounds impossible, but the truth is that we don't really know how the mind works. There are things that we can do that we don't understand, and telepathy might be one of them. These unexplained moments are just a few examples of the things that we can't explain using science. There are many others that people experience all the time, like déjà vu, when you feel like you've already experienced the present moment before it happens, or premonition, when you have a dream about something that happens in the future. The truth is that we don't really know how the mind works, and there are things that we can't explain using science. These unexplained moments are just a few examples of the things that we don't understand. But instead of writing them off as crazy or impossible, maybe we should embrace them. Maybe they're just our ghostly neighbors trying to connect with us in ways that we can't understand. Do you believe in ghosts? Have you ever experienced an unexplained moment? Let us know your thoughts. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to click the like button and share it with your friends. Subscribe to our channel for more content like this. As always, thanks for watching.